Hello everybody! So today we are not going to do the video, or the type of video I was kind of planning on doing. You might see behind, we are dribbling a slurry. We are putting, so we are making a start on our spring work finally in the middle of April now. So putting slurry out on where the fodder beet was last year and 2 years ago. So we split a field in two. This part was fodder beet in 2022. The part behind the camera was fodder beet last year. This is the only bit of cultivation work we're doing this year, and the reason I can't kind of film spreading today. I do have the drone with me, but it's just far too windy to use the drone. The pipes on the dribble bar are getting blowed to the side, so that's how windy it is. So there's no way the drone is going to be hanging around in that kind of weather. So we'll do a little bit of a recap where we are, how the winter's gone, forage wise, where we are with grass and cows going out and all that. Basically what's been happening and what will be happening. It seems to be we are in a slightly better position than a lot of people in the UK with regards to what forage we have left for the cows. So this time last year in 2023 we were actually cutting grass, zero grazing grass, taking it into the cows because it was too wet to turn out this time last year and we had run out of silage. This year it's still too wet to turn out later in the year. I think it's the 15th of April today, so it's still too wet for the cows to go out, but luckily we are not short of either silage or fodder beet. We have a good stock of that left. We had a much better silage year or grass year in 23 than we did in 22 because it started raining kind of late June, early July 2023, and here we are, middle of April. We've got a dry week coming, so yes, it's the first time in all that 8-9 months, whatever it is, got a week's dry in the forecast. I don't think we've had that since the start of July last year. So all that rain in the second half of last year did mean we had a kind of an abundance of grass. The silage clamps were filled up, and we had probably the most round bales of silage we've made in a long time. To the point where, because we became clear of TB in early February, those cattle are almost all now gone. Still a few left. We did have a few, we had ringworm, we couldn't sell them. Okay, so you can't sell cattle that have active ringworm on them. So we did have, I think, what we got, 10 left over, something like that. So that ringworm in those few beef cattle is pretty much gone now. We have the vet coming in this afternoon to pre-movement test, and then they can go down to the market at some point in the next 60 days, because you have to have a pre-movement test for your TB, and that test then lasts 60 days from the date of the injection. So that gives us a little window to get those gone. Like I said, the big lump of them are gone. We caught the market high of store cattle, which is unusual. You know, it doesn't normally work like that. So we did achieve good prices, but we needed it because of the amount of cake we had to feed them to get them to where they were. So since all those cattle are gone, that left us with a big surplus of round bales. So in early March we entered some second cut October made bales into a forage auction, and they have been sold now. They're gradually going away as the chap at the bottom as he needs them. So it was second cut after hay. It was made well, it was made dry in early-ish October, but it's not milking cow silage, it's kind of heifer dry cow silage. And we don't want bales hanging around past turnout now, because they're not going to last. You know, you kind of want to use bales in the first year. Getting past a year old, they don't really keep. So we had the surplus, we sold those, and it's going to help out somebody else who was short. So, you know, it kind of works out for all ways round. But we have first cut clamp silage left, which the cows are eating now, and turnout is imminent. Turnout may be tomorrow if things go to plan. We're pumping the slurry today. It's just dry enough to get on this fodder beet ground now. You wouldn't do much else other than umbilical slurry it. You wouldn't plough it yet, it's still too wet for that. But we need to spread today because the pipe is crossing where the cows are going to go, where the cows are going to be turned out. So that's why we're spreading today, hopefully turning out tomorrow. There's plenty of grass, and all the fertilizer has now gone out. That was all done last week. The weather guessers were saying dry weather was coming, and we knew that we were hoping the worst of the storms were gone. We didn't want to put fertilizer on and have a massive dump of rain on it. So Ben did all the fertilizer kind of middle of last week, and that has had some rain on it, which is good, but not a massive dump to wash it away. So fertilizer is on everywhere, and we do have quite a lot of grass. Because it's been such a mild winter, there's grass everywhere, and despite all the rain, we seem to have been very lucky and got away. Nothing has been flooded, nothing has sat underwater, and there's no bare patches. Even the red clover and ryegrass we put in late August, that's this high now. That didn't get any nitrogen because it shouldn't need it, and at the earliest opportunity we want to get that cut. But all that came through the winter, it all survived, which is good. So hopefully, depending on the weather, late April, early May, we will be starting to cut some. But the grass here at home, that's doing well as well, partly because cows came in so early in the autumn. There was some grass on some fields that really should have been fed off, but we couldn't get to it. We're going to have to be careful because we're reasonably late now for the cows going out. There's a lot of grass everywhere. The cows aren't going to get over it fast enough before it loses its quality. So we will end up cutting some here as early as we can to try and keep fresh grass coming for the grazing season. I did come up to the fodder beet field last week and tried to mould plough it. It was too wet, but I did mould plough through a few wet spots, and that's let the worst of it go. We're hoping to do the whole thing before we plough it. Whether that'll work out or not, don't know yet. Fortunately for us, this is the only field we have to plough and reseed this time. We did say in the fodder beet harvesting video we're not growing a fodder beet anymore, or not for this year anyway. So this field will be going back into grass, the short term Italian ryegrass type grass, because we are expecting over this field an enormous weed problem. Weeds always follow fodder beet, but if you've watched the fodder beet video, you'll know we had an awful year in the fodder beet for weeds. So all those weeds went to seed, and they are now going to be growing this year. So there's just pure grass, no clover in it, and we need to be on top of spraying to keep that grass clean, get rid of all those weeds, and then hopefully it should produce a good amount of forage as well. When we said in the beet video we were giving up beet, a lot of people said you should be growing forage maize for the cows, and we did seriously consider putting maize in this field, but it's 12 acres and 12 acres of maize isn't enough really to feed through the winter. It's kind of 12 acres more trouble than it's worth. You'd want 30-40 acres, and we just don't have the space to fit that in. So with 12 acres doesn't really work, so better off going back into grass, getting those weeds under control, and moving forwards in the future. So we do have, you might have seen behind the dribble bar, there is a dung heap out here, so that's been stacked up in the winter. That needs to come out on this, plough it up, harrow it, get the grass in, all before the weather breaks and we need to be busy on cutting grass. So lots to come, and hopefully very soon the cows will be going out. So we have missed a couple of Sundays in a row of videos, purely because nothing really has happened. It's nice to have a little break from things occasionally, so we haven't filmed anything. So there we go, just a quick little kind of catch-uppy thing today. What's coming up in the future and why we're not growing maize and we're not growing fodder beet anymore. So there you go. So thank you very much for watching.